Good morning, everybody, and happy Sunday morning. And happy birthday to all those beautiful babies that were born this day. And we are going to get right into the thick of things. We're going to do the copyright disclaimer. I'm going to go to the chat, say hello to everybody, and then I'm going to be going into a conversation that delves deep into what most people don't know, and something that I feel that needs to be told. Okay, concerning the devil and the devil's chair and basically anything named devil. So, that being said, the copyright disclaimer is excuse my voice. This channel may use some copyrighted materials without specific authorization of the owner, but contends that it falls under the Fair Use Act, which is the Copyright Act of 1976. Nighthawk High Strange, this podcast channel, and all the podcasts on the channel declare fair use of any and all content, including the music, to be used for the sole purposes of informing you, the viewing family, of information for criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, research, parody, and general knowledge only, and also entertainment value. Per Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, otherwise known as the Fair Use Act. All right, get that off of there. I'm going to go to the chat here and say hello to everybody. If everybody's here, some people probably aren't in yet. Let's see here. Morning, Eric.
Good morning, my brother. Good morning, new girl.
Oh,
Good morning, aunt. Sorry, I'm trying to get caught up on people too.
okay.
Are these from yesterday or today? Those are from yesterday.
These,
Okay, yeah.
yeah. Hmm.
We got
That's too
Woo in the
weird.
house. Woo, woo.
Yep. Got Girl and Gong, Roxanne,
Yeah.
and Ed, Dave Lester, and Melissa, and Juno. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. If I missed your names, I apologize in advance. It's been a very, very trying night and a trying morning, so it's taken its toll on me. Um, Having difficulty breathing too, so that's not going to be good. Um, the subject today is more of a supernatural component to it. Okay, um, as some of you know, I'm not sure if anybody's read my blog that I have on Pod page. Um, in there is a description of my growing up in the house and on the property that was highly charged with activity. Actually, it was probably about 20 to 25 times more active than Skinwalker Ranch. There are places throughout our country and our world that are supercharged. Okay. They're supernaturally charged, to say. Um, Bradshaw Ranch is one of them. Skinwalker Ranch is one of them. Tombstone is one of them. Sedona is one of them. And any place along that lines, the Coral Castle in Florida would be one of them. The Bermuda Triangle is one of them. The Devil's Tower is one of them. And I can go on and on and on, and how the Nihani Valley is located with it also up in Canada. There's the um, Black Triangle up in Alaska. That's part of it. And the reason I'm saying all these right now is there is a controlling factor in our reality, okay, our world, to say the least. Um, when I grew up, my mother would tell me that we had the devil's chair in her bedroom next to her bed, and that whenever she needed something done supernatural wise, she would consort and conspire with the devil himself. He would show up in that chair. And in fact, she called it the devil's chair. And in fact, nobody was allowed to sit in that chair. Okay. It sat empty right next to the bed. Okay. One day something happened. She did a ceremony the evening prior, and something had happened. And we were young. My sister and I, we were very young. I was probably like every bit of 5 years old, if that. Um, but my mother came running into the living room one day and snatched me and my sister up and our dog. We had a poodle, a old gray haired poodle. And if you have a poodle, you know they're very protective of family. That's just their breed. Um, Anyways, the dog followed us. She ran us down the hallway and into the bedroom, slamming the door closed, and basically grabbing the another chair in the room and putting it in front of behind the door so the door couldn't open. And this was a wooden chair. It wasn't nothing extravagant. But it wasn't the devil's chair. It was still next to the bed. And I remember we're putting us on the bed and the dog on the bed, and I remember the door rattling, shaking fiercely. And as you can imagine, I mean, it's pretty traumatic for a child to experience stuff like that, especially as young as we were. And next thing I knew, the door, the chair that was propping the door closed underneath the knob. You know how they did that in the old days? They propped the chair under the knob. The chair flew across the room and hit the far wall. The door swang open with a violent manner, like it was kicked open, and nobody was standing there. And my mother got on the bed with us, and she told me and my sister to hold on to the dog and don't look up. Well, you don't tell a kid not to look up. I'm sorry, I don't care. They're not going to listen. I looked up and I saw this red mist with a tinge of shadow effect to it, basically missed its way in through the doorway and over to that chair. And it stayed in that chair until my mother said, "I'm not acknowledging you. You have no right to be here." Well, this mist disappeared, and the next thing we know, the bed, the foot of the bed, and it was a heavy bed, bed frame and everything, um, queen size or king size, whatever the biggest one is. And the bed was picked up about 4 feet in the air from the foot of the bed and dropped violently to the floor several times. And of course, me and my sister are screaming, and my sister's crying, and my mom is tearful, and the dog is growling and basically foaming at the mouth to get to whatever it was. And my mother started to pray. And as soon as she started to pray, it's like the mist and the evil feeling had left the room. Um, Prior to that, it was, and this was like a very nice, sunny summer day. Okay. So this is not like in the middle of winter time when the room's cold and all that. And You have the heat on, and there's moisture built up on the windows, or morning dew on the outside of the window. It's nothing like that. That room, while that entity was in there, was so cold it felt like we were outside in the middle of winter, and it was 32 below. I mean, that's how cold that room was. You could see our breath. um After that whole ordeal happened, I saw my mother looking at the chair, and I asked her, I remember asking her, Mom, what is with that chair? And she explained to me that it was the devil's chair, and that the devil has 333 chairs or places throughout the world that he is allowed to come to communicate with humans. And as a little kid, I remember thinking to myself, well, that's just, who would want to talk to the devil? I mean, I wasn't raised Christian. I was raised, worse than the worst of dark magic. Um, but I learned that day that there is a dark presence that is very, very real. Something that a lot of people don't know, that the reason certain locations are mentioned with the name devil, or Satan's hollow, or, you know, the devil's chair, or Lucifer's kitchen, that type of stuff. These are all locations where the devil has permission to come and do whatever he wants to be done. He doesn't have to be invited. He doesn't have to be invited in. That's one thing that I learned that day. That the devil is all around, and basically he has his ear. He has his ear, or ears, I should say, always listening. He he's very, very much the type of an entity that, although he was once angelic, he's far from it now. He's pure evil. That wasn't the first time that we had to deal with that part of our lives. Most of our lives. I mean, I would be sitting there in the room when she was talking to the devil, and the mist was there in a chair before this incident, and I never really grasped what that mist was that I was looking at. Um, but after that day, when the bed lifted up, and I mean, it was at the very least 4 feet in the air, and dropped several times, like probably a dozen times, violently to the floor. Um, call it what you want. You can say it was just poltergeist activity and just a regular ghost. And no, y'all have no idea how I grew up. Um, I guess that's why I wanted to write a book, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to. I don't know how much time I've got left. And my time is going to be even shorter after discussing this with you all. Um, when I say something like, thank God, or I pray to Yeshua, um, and I call him Yeshua by his name, I'm doing it because I have faith in him. Okay, but at the same time, I'm doing it because that is the only thing I'm afraid of. Everybody has a fear. Um, dealing with the devil and seeing that adverse reaction and that violent behavior from something that you physically can't see and you can't protect yourself from, it scares the hell out of you as a child. Okay. And as I grew up into being a man, I kind of internalized that. And, I took a tormented child and turned him into a monster. Okay. There's no other way to put it. What I experienced growing up with the devil's chair is something that nobody should ever experience, and I told Eric about this before we came on, and he can vouch for it. He's done a little bit of research on it with the chair in Florida, and they're all over the place. But there is a thing where you put an offering in the chair, and my mother used to do it all the time. We would have Kessler's whiskey in the big glass bottles, um, and wild turkey at the house. And my mother used to fill a shot glass and lay a cigar down with the shot glass in that chair. And as God is my witness, whatever the cigarette and cigars that she had put down in the chair, they were smoked, and they weren't smoked by something that was physically there. The liquor that she had put in the shot glass was always gone. And one thing about my mother was she didn't drink a lot of hard liquor. She wasn't she was a beer drinker, not a hard liquor drinker. So I know it wasn't her drinking it. And it wouldn't take any time whatsoever. But that is the way you not only conjure the visitation, because you remember, you don't have to ask the devil for his, give him permission to show up. If you have the devil's chair, he shows up because it's his property, and he thinks that you are his property. um it's a very, very frightening thing to go through. And like I said before, there is, in the United States currently, there is 13 chairs, okay, that are in the United States. A couple of them are on the West Coast. And then there are other locations throughout the United States, like the Devil's Tower, Sedona. I wouldn't even be surprised if they'll say New Mexico was one of those places. It's got to have a high concentration of evil, darkness, and mystery about it, where people go missing. Okay. Um, and it's got to have Lucifer, Satan, or devil within the naming of the location in order for the devil to claim it as his own and to come through and go back and forth as much as he wants to. I guess I learned from that. I guess I learned from that whenever somebody talks about an angel, and believe me, I mean, I wear the ring. I mean, it's the seven archangels ring that I wear. Um, not all angels are the same. There is, and my heart's racing right now too, talking about it. I'm gonna give it to you this way. If you come across a certain location that has either the devil mentioned in it, Satan, or Lucifer. Lucifer chimney is one. You know, the Devil's Kitchen is one. Any location that is named after him as the namesake, we are giving him the right to that location, so he doesn't have to ask us for permission to come into our world. Um, and in fact, I'll emphasize that even more that it's not really our world. It's his world for the time being. We wonder why there is so much darkness in government, and with powerful families. And I can tell you for a fact that a lot of these families have basically sold themselves out, um, so they can survive in the devil's world, and they forsake all of us. Yeah, Juno, I know. Yeah, it's. I don't talk about it very much, but I felt the need to bring it out today because of the way things are going. Everybody's walking around with blinders on. I watched something yesterday on YouTube that shocked me. There was a young man going around asking people if they believed in Jesus. Every one of them denied Jesus. Yeah, 13 crystal skulls and 13 seals. Yes. The number 13 is his number. Okay. The number 333 is his number. The number 33 is his number. The number 666 is his number. I'm going to bring up some pictures here of some of the chairs that are around where we where we live, okay, in America.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just looking at some of 'em myself. I didn't know we had one here in Missouri, in Kirksville.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm looking at the one in Florida at Lake Helen, Casaduga Cemetery, Casaduga, Florida.
Yeah, that's what I
I
got up
think
right
that's the
now.
one you're showing. Yeah, yeah, that's the one you got.
My,
Yeah, I was looking at that because it's got 7 of them at cemeteries. What I'm looking up here, but I didn't even realize we had one here in Missouri.
yep. Here's a close up of the chair.
Mm.
That is one of the devil's chairs. They say if you put a can of beer down on that chair and come back in the morning, it'll be empty. And the can won't have to be open to be empty. It's the same with the shot glass of whiskey my mother used to put down on the chair in the house for the devil. It would disappear. We don't know what we're dealing with. The whole purpose of starting doing this podcast was while the time I have left to forewarn people of things. And man, I'm shaking talking about it.
Use your mind, brother. Seek the power within.
All I can say is, when we're dealing with, monsters I can handle, cryptids I can handle, ghosts I can handle, demons I can handle. I've done it my whole life. I've handled them. But when it comes to the devil, that's a whole nother evil. It's an evil that consumes you. that can turn your eyes completely black and your heart completely cold. I really don't know other ways to say it. That part of my life has been gone for a while, and I can still. All I have to do is think about it, and it comes back. I can claim the blood of Jesus. I can claim the blood of Yeshua. But that darkness, does it ever really leave you? I don't think so. My mother used to tell me also that when we die, our good parts of our spirit will go one way and the darkness of our spirit will go the other. And I think that's what the devil's plan is. Lucifer's plan is to manipulate that dark part of our soul. And the more bits and pieces, he doesn't have to have our whole soul to become stronger. He just needs bits and pieces from each and every one of us. I always say, and I know that everybody in the chat knows I've said this probably 150 times in a day, that the strongest power and force in our world is unconditional love. And I mean that. The devil hates that. Lucifer hates unconditional love. He hates the fact that God, our creator, gave us a strength within us to fend him off, the devil off. But nobody knows about it. And those that try to deal with it, whether it's a Catholic priest going to an exorcism or a house of blessing, they're only told bits and pieces of how this supernatural works. The fact of the matter is that once you delve into the dark arts, especially the Native American aspect of it, you never fully leave that behind. So the devil's chair, devil's tower. I think I even have a picture of the devil's tower around here.
You do have a question here, brother, by Ida. She asked, would a person disappear if they slept in the chair?
Okay. I don't know anybody that's ever lasted sitting in the chair any more than a couple minutes. I was told never to sit in the chair, and I never did. I wasn't told the repercussions from sitting in a chair, but I can tell you one thing, that if you don't leave an offering occasionally at the chair, the one person that comes and sits in it after a long period of time that the devil's not recognized and given that offering, all hell's going to break loose for that person sitting in the chair. And I'm talking disease, I'm talking famine, I'm talking death to loved ones. I'm talking stuff that out of the blue, you know, somebody dying that person's going to love. And that's the game that he plays. But to him, it's not a game. To him, it is the way it's supposed to be. You see, at the same time, when Lucifer was told that he was the god of our world, not just the prince of our world, but the god of our world, he was given the key to the city, so to speak, the ability to do whatever he wanted to. But these locations, these 333 locations around the world, are his way or portal or doorway to come into our world whenever he pleases, because he doesn't have to be invited in at those locations. Um, and one way you can find out those locations is from the missing people. Tragedy happens in those locations often. Um, just, death and despair happens in those locations. So, but yeah, I haven't known anybody to sit in a chair any longer than probably 10 minutes without having this overwhelming presence pressing down upon them and causing them to tremble and be fearful. Um, and like I said, I never sat in a chair, but I remember my mother not doing an offering for about a week, and I remember the activity on our property and in our home increased 1,000 times fold. Everything from brown hooded figures floating out of the basement, up the basement stairs, through the kitchen, and into my half sister's bedroom where she was sleeping at the time, and the bed being picked up and dropped violently on the ground again, and hearing her scream and run through that brown cloaked figure with no hands and no face floating, which was the Grim Reaper, the angel of death. And she ran through it so hard that she ran into the wall across the hallway from the bedroom door, and she knocked herself out pretty good. After she ran through it, it disappeared. But this is the kind of stuff that happened all the time. Okay. But whenever the offering wasn't put on the chair, it got exponentially a lot worse than what it normally would be. It ramped it up big time. So I don't know what's going on with these other locations, but I can guarantee that they probably have an increase in dark entities and stuff doing harm or causing chaos. Um, the pilots during World War II would blame incidental things on gremlins, and
Mhm.
I kind of look at gremlins as demons, because that's their whole goal, is to do that kind of a bidding, to do whatever their master tells them to do. So, but the devil's chair is not to be taken lightly. And when people talk about, oh, the devil's not real, the devil's not real at all. Demons don't exist.
Yeah.
Just keep on saying it, and you're going to find how real it really is. He doesn't give up. He's always listening, always watching. He doesn't give up.
Yeah, I was doing a bit of reading here, and it seems like pretty much in all these cases, you said in it, you die within a year. The one in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, however, it said so. It says here the the chair was stolen. See, in Ocean City, New Jersey, local folklore says the devil's chair was once stolen from a cemetery. The thief was detected when they were found sitting in the chair dead in the middle of the street. Now, the Devil's Chair in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, however, seems to be more being than most of its counterparts. If a woman struggles to get pregnant, sits in the seat, she'll be expecting within the year.
Yep.
Makes you wonder what kind of baby's
Yeah.
coming out of her.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, even in Yorkshire, England, I mean, it's all the same cases. You're going to die within the year. I'm reading
Mhm.
all these. Even the mountaintop, it's called Devil's Chair. I mean, just nonstop. That's all it says. You sit in them, you die within a year.
That's why Washington, D.C. is designed the way it is, because the devil's got
Yeah.
an open invitation to do basically what he wants with our government at free will. He doesn't need to be invited in. He's already there.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
consider that.
Yeah. Sadly, though, it wasn't originally set up that way, but that's what's happened recently.
Hmm.
Gosh dang, dude. I'm reading all this stuff. I mean, there's a lot of them called the witch's chair as well.
Hmm. Yep.
Which makes sense.
I just thought,
Who was it?
yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
I just thought that I'd just basically enlighten everybody on the fact that these things do exist. Just as much as people see portals. And I guarantee when you see a portal, you're going to know a portal. Um, the sound will go completely silent. No birds, no
Mm-hmm.
crickets, no nothing, no traffic, no nothing. Not the cracking of the trees and the wind, nothing. Completely silent.
Yeah.
And then you'll feel that static electricity in the air, and make your hair on the back of your neck stand up, and your spine will tingle, and you'll know that something's about to happen.
Yeah. Well,
So,
earlier I commented on this one here from the girl and her gong. She says Hell's Kitchen, New York. I always felt a dark presence in New York, and I told her, I said, yeah, there's places like that all over the world. And
mhm.
every time I've been next to them, you can feel the evil in the air. I mean, there's no disputing. You can feel that stuff in the air. Hey, Cynthia, no worries. Um, but and that's one thing you guys need to look into when you're dealing with that is you're going to feel this evil. Everybody's in tune with that ability. Some of it are more acceptable to others because they're more in tune with it than the others. But there's no disputing when you feel evil in the air. You'll know. I mean, it. What's a good way to describe it? It just creeps into your soul. I mean, you can feel it all the way down into your soul that this is not right. Something is not right here. And that's one thing you guys need to consider when you're dealing with this stuff is what it's like.
Yeah, you guys have no idea right now how I'm feeling. My
Yeah.
stomach is in a complete knot, and I am literally, uh, I'm, I'm on edge. Let's put it that way. But I wanted to talk about this today. I needed to get this out. I needed to make it to where people can watch this later, and maybe give them a chance to know in advance that wherever they're at, if there's that kind of a named area, whether it's the Devil's Camp or Lucifer's Kitchen or Hell's Kitchen, the Devil's Tower, um, Satan's, whatever it's named, as long as it has something to do with Lucifer. Okay. Um,
Mm,
that's an area you want to tread very lightly. Okay. And you want to take as much protection with you as possible. because it's a lot stronger in those areas. Some people,
Yeah.
when they do their meditation and all that, and I'm not going here because I'm getting on people about not praying, but I'm just talking in generality. Somebody going around saying, "Oh, well, I'm spiritual. I'm not Christian, but I'm spiritual." That's what Lucifer's depending upon, is you being spiritual, because that gives him the opportunity to open up you and your soul completely. And, no matter how spiritual you think you are, you have no idea. You have no idea the amount of power you're dealing with. Um, I told, well, we had Matt on here talking about his dogman encounter um, in Ohio, Matt Emmons, and he asked me, he said, "Oh, I saw you hang your head low during the interview. Was it something I said?" And I said, "No." I said, "What you said, you described exactly of how the outcome of the Walker ceremony would happen. Um, the being the cryptid that he described, is exactly what would happen in a skinwalker ceremony. So, I mean, this shit's real. Okay. I don't know how much more plainer I could make it. It ruined my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's taken so much of my life from me, because he's not gonna do something for you unless he gets something in return. There's no such thing as a gentleman's agreement with the devil.
No.
He's not a gentleman. He's pure evil. Pure evil. He can manipulate, he can lie. He has a power to corrupt mankind, humanity, at a whim. And I see everything going on nowadays. And yes, I know there's wars and rumors of war. We all know that from the Bible. But there's so much of this negative stuff going on in the world right now that he is he's becoming more powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to come to a head. It's going to come to a boiling point, to say the least. So I just want people to be prepared, you know, while our great world leaders and you know wealthy people are reaping the rewards of dealing with the devil. It's us innocent and meek people that are dealing with the consequences of what the wealthy and the powerful people are doing to us in our world. They talk about how the stone monuments were destroyed in Georgia, the Georgia guidestones. They talk about the Stonehenge in the UK being destroyed. You have to ask yourself why. If you destroy the place where the devil has permission to come through at a whim, you're not destroying that place to close the doorway. You're destroying that place and exposing that whole location to being permanently open. See, that's the thing with people. They think that if they can burn it or they can destroy it, they can stop it and close it. Mm-mm. By destroying it and burning it, you're opening it up even wider. So the devil and his demons can come through. The same with divot boxes and haunted boxes. I see people all the time, you know, buying these boxes off of eBay, and they have no idea what they're dealing with. And that's just a demon. That's not even dealing with the devil. But the power that lays within those boxes when those boxes are opened up to evil is still nothing to laugh about, because it's an evil power that can destroy lives if it's given the opportunity. So I'm not a big, if somebody buys a haunted box or a divot box and all that, I won't be around when you open it. Let's put it that way. I know
Yeah.
firsthand, from what happens to people when they deal in the dark arts. So that's why I left that part behind me. And I've been getting a lot of questions lately about, why don't I do that anymore, and all this, and why are you just helping out people now with ceremonies and not, and not doing, the darker part of it. Well, I'm not. I'm done with the darker part of it. That's not to say that it's not done with me, but I'm done with the darker part of it.
Yep. Well, it's just like the Ouija board. From what I experienced when I was a kid, yep, I'm never going around or touching one of those ever again. So I mean,
Anyways,
that's that's
yeah, I
oh,
just
go
wanted
ahead.
to I just wanted to talk about that today, and let everybody know that these locations, they exist.
Hmm.
I've experienced it firsthand. And
Yeah.
if something is named a certain way to recognize Lucifer or Satan or the devil or hell or anything like that, mark my words, there's going to be an uptick of activity, supernatural activity. People are going to be missing more than normal, if there is a
Yep.
normal in this world.
Yep. And for me, I mean, I've never had the experience of the dark side like you have. I've always been the outside looking in, dealing with my family. But even with that experience, that's why I always said I'll never do it. And the one time I did, did mess with the Ouija board in the graveyard and shit I seen when that happened. Nope, 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 nope. I'm good. No way.
Yeah. Everybody thinks, oh, just burn the Ouija board. That'll close it. No, that's not it at all. You have to literally
No.
seal it with your words, and then you gotta bind it, and you bind it in red cloth, and you bury it deep so nobody else can find it.
Hmm. Yeah, it's that thing is not it. No, yeah, no. And yeah, think there's places all over the world too. Back on the Devil's deal, there's places all over the world. You got Devil's Elbow, Devil's Canyon, Devil's Chair, Devil's Mountain, Devil's Trail. I mean, this is all over. We got one called Devil's Kitchen here in Missouri. That's a big ass sinkhole. There's a reason why devil is in the word. So I mean, you gotta consider that. You know, um,
And
they're
think
cool
about
places
this.
to see. But
Yeah,
yeah,
think
go
about
ahead.
this though. When somebody calls Bigfoot the mountain devil, that's a supernatural being. Okay, that's not the actual traditional Sasquatch or Bigfoot that you're thinking it is.
Hmm.
I've always said if it has red eyes, when you see red glowing eyes,
Yeah.
it's supernatural. Okay, it's got a supernatural entity inside it. It's not the normal cryptid. Okay, normal cryptids will have green or yellow glowing eyes. Some of them will have orangish kind of a tinge to it. But when you deal with something red, like the Mothman, you're dealing with
Hmm.
an angelic, a supernatural being. Okay, that's the only thing I can describe it as. That's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I agree with you 100% on that. I mean, and there's a lot of stuff from just indigenous people only, native people of different kinds of demons. Demons ain't just in Christianity, folks, and you need to realize this. You've got the jinn with the Muslim, you got the big W with the indigenous people, along with the SW with the indigenous people. I mean, you got all sorts of kind of stuff. I mean, you go all over the world, they talk about a demon of one sort or another. You know, in Norse, they talk about the Draugr, which is a zombie. But if you actually think about it, when you talk about Hel and her army, those are demons. The offspring of Loki were known as demons. This is stuff that's all over the world. It's not just in Christianity, it's not just in Judaism, it's in everything. So there's got to be some truth behind these things if every single culture in the world has their version of a demon. Oops, crap.
Yeah, yeah. See, Kyle. Yeah, that's what I mean. Even
Yep.
wildlife knows when something is supernatural in nature. Okay, and some elemental out there that we know exist in nature um, have red glowing eyes, but
Hmm.
the eyes of an elemental will change with their kind of like a mood ring. I mean, if you go to, like, say you take a tree elemental and you say you go to the tree and you don't respectfully deal with the tree and you cut it down out of anger or hatred or whatnot, or just out of sheer stupidity. Okay, um, that elemental is going to have red glowing eyes and it's going to come for you. Okay, that doesn't
Hmm.
necessarily mean that elemental is evil. It just means that evil was done through the act of humanity to cause that elemental spirit to become aggressive and angry, and that's what the eye change. Um, Now, saying that can cryptids change their eye color? When it glows almost self-illuminated? No, I don't believe so. I really don't. So when you deal with something with red glowing eyes, you're dealing with something very, very evil and very, very supernatural in nature. Okay. Um, I know that from firsthand dealing with things growing up. Okay. I mean, I've been through it all. I've dealt with elementals. I've dealt with little people. I've dealt with alien and UFO crap. I've dealt with Bigfoot, Dog Man, um, you name it, Goat Man, Shadow People, the Glimmer Man. I've dealt with all that. Okay, my entire life, and that's why. I know firsthand what happens when you're dealing with it. When that thing came out of our basement and floated through the kitchen, it's that there was no feet. It was just a brown hooded cloak like the monks used to wear. Okay, no hands, just the sleeves of it, and it floated, literally floated and glid across the floor to where my half sister was sleeping. It's when you see something like that, it's really a way to slap reality in the face to people. You take all the stuff that that paranormal investigators deal with, at certain locations, and they talk about smudging the property and cleansing it, and you know they know how to deal with the demonic. They have no idea. I'm sorry, I don't want to insult anybody, but they have no idea about the level of a demonic activity to deal with. Um, I've seen it change people. I've seen it change me. I've been in positions where bad things have happened, and I can see through my eyes, but it's not my eyes or my body, not my human body. Okay, and when you see that and you experience that, unless you are as deep and dark and demented as the entities are, you're not going to want to ever see it again.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you like that type of stuff, then have at it. You know, just don't bring it around me, because although I don't dabble in it anymore, I have a new spiritual strength. And it's like I said before, I have people contacting me all the time. In fact, Jessica, you know, contacted me about it. I've had several people on Facebook contact me about the Walker ceremonies and stuff, and how they're being chased, and all this type of stuff, and wanting protection. And I do my Native American ceremonies from a good point, a good place, no more of the evil, and it works. So I know my power. You know, I know my time is limited, but at the same time, that doesn't mean I should limit my abilities for taking care of humanity, protecting as much of humanity as possible. So, yeah, and Edna, that's true. I died 3 times in my lifetime. When I was 3 years old, I was beaten and kicked to the point where I was basically out of my body. Um, 3 years old, getting stomped on by neighborhood bullies um, that were teenagers beating up a 3-year-old, which is completely demonic. Um, I died on one time when my heart raced to 229 beats a minute. I was given a series of 7 shots that they give to people when they die. The shot, I don't know what they call it, but I got the shot, and the 7th shot that I got cringed my body so tightly into a cramping type of a muscle spasm state, that painful. My heart rate still didn't come down. I had that heart rate of 229 beats a minute for about 3 or 4 days in the hospital until it finally came down. Um, they did all kinds of tests on me to see why it happened, and they couldn't figure out why it happened. Um, I kind of knew why it happened. I kind of figured it was an attack of the dark nature. And then when I had my first cancer battle, when they removed my esophagus, it was a 9-hour surgery, and I died on the operating table in 2019. And I remember the doctor the surgeon coming into my room with her assistant, and her telling me that I had died and that they couldn't get my heart rate back. But something happened to trigger it to beat again. But my heart stopped, and I think she said it stopped for a total of 4 minutes. If your heart stops for 4 minutes, then you possibly suffer other medical problems on top of that. So, you know,
We have
the
a
only
question up here.
yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
I'm reading it. Um,
Well, I've
did I
got another
see?
one up here
Yeah. Okay.
that we'll get to here in a second. I'll let you answer this one. It's one that David asked a little bit ago. I've just been waiting for the opportunity to pop it up again.
Okay. All right.
But I'll let you answer this one.
As far as seeing anything, I can tell you for a fact that I was the last time on the operating table, I was given the opportunity to look through the light, okay, or given the opportunity to turn around and basically see where we came from, okay, which is out there, you know. And I was given that opportunity upon contingent upon if I went back through to my body, that I could have that choice another time, that I could either go through the life or the light and be recycled basically again, is I guess the best way to put it. um or I could turn around and go back to the universe and all of its infinite glory, to where our spirit comes from. All right. When I was a child and I was killed, and I died briefly, that I heard my grandmother's voice. My grandmother and I, we used to have this thing where we'd sit at the kitchen table, no matter what time it was at night, and she would pour me an orange, a cup of orange soda, and herself a cup of orange soda. I just I have this 32-inch flat screen TV here that it's not plugged in at all, and it just turned off and on.
Huh.
Literally, the TV screen lit up and then just turned off. Um, but no, when I she we used to sit up and you know just she was being a grandma, and but when I died when I was 3 years old, I saw her and heard her voice saying me it wasn't my time, that I needed to go back. So
Mm.
that was that time. When I had my heart problem with 229 beats a minute, I don't recall anything but darkness. So, and to tell you the truth, at that point in my life, um, it was a dark point of my life. Okay, yes, I was an adult, but I was working for a casino, and I was high up in the executive level of a casino for security. So I dealt with all the crap that you deal with as far as cops. I dealt with drug problems, assaults, rape, um, you know, vandalism, you name it. I dealt with all that. I dealt with gangs throughout all that. I mean, I was at that was the last dark point of my life, and that's when that incident happened with my heart. So I don't know if that opened up the possibility for me to have a supernatural attack. It probably did because of all the negativity and BS that I dealt with every day at that job. And no matter how much you get paid, it's not worth it. It wasn't a lot of money, so I don't even care to even go to a casino anymore. So, but yeah, there is so much that people don't understand that goes on in this world without them knowing. Especially supernatural wise. So if I can help anybody in any way by naming certain areas, and tell them to avoid these areas that have these certain titles to them, um, then they're going to be ahead of the game. They're ahead of the curve because if you go to these places, you're literally opening yourself up to these things, to the darkness. And believe me, after dealing with demons and angry spirits and whatnot in my life, the only one that I do not want to deal with ever again, and I claim the blood of Jesus over this, is the devil, because you have no idea how that how high that energy level is. It's like taking your physical and mental and spiritual aspect of your entire being and turning it up from a 2 to a plus 20. Okay, that's literally what it feels like. Okay.
Yeah.
um, you feel invincible for a period of time, but you're only, not to change subject, but I am confused about what a pagan is. Too many. Man, my eyesight is not that great right now.
I'll read it
Good
to you. So
Lord.
David asks, and this is something I kind of hit on. I've hit on this before because I'm totally against the word pagan. That's a derogatory term given against people who didn't believe in Catholicism. But David asks, not to change the subject, but I'm confused about what a pagan is. To many paths they take or believe, good or bad. With work with some that are pagan, they seem or act normal. Is there a clear answer? So the for me, my opinion, I've been called Norse pagan. I'm Norse. If you believe the stories of my family, we hail from Ragnar Lothbrok through Ivar the Boneless. If you believe some of the sagas, Ragnar's the son of Odin. I carry Mjolnir with me. Or not Mjolnir, I do carry Mjolnir, but I've got Gungnir with me too. Pagans are just people that believe in nature, kind of like what Native Americans are. They believe in nature. There's good and bad in every single culture, including them. Um, but pagan is a derogatory term created by the Catholic Church to discredit a religion. I don't
Right.
know what your thoughts are on that.
No, I agree. I agree the same way. Paganism is not Satanism. Okay. It has nothing to do with the satanic. It's not Luciferian cult. It's not any of that. Pagans are well, Wiccan is pagan, because Wiccan is a nature based, like the Gaia faith of the earth being alive, and you know doing things in harmony with the earth. That's basically what it is. Okay.
I'm trying to get caught up on the
What
comments
was that
here.
one?
The spiritual attack. Uh,
Uh,
or you talk about what Raven or Wu asked. What you answered? Did you see a white light when you passed
oh,
away for a little
okay.
bit?
Okay.
But you already, I'm just getting caught up on the comments because I'm like way behind.
Okay. But anybody that is pagan is in my eyes. I'm not sure about in Yeshua's eyes, but in my eyes, I don't believe that they are Luciferian cult related or satanic cult related in any way possible. Because they're more of a, in the dark arts we have our dark witchcraft arts, and then we have our white witchcraft arts. And you know, people that delve in the white witch part of it may think that they're not evil or doing it with evil intent, but ultimately, the darker magic is the one that's allowing the white magic to happen. In other words, you can't be conducting white magic without the permission of the the head of the table of the dark magic, basically. Um, only the devil or Lucifer, Satan, without his approval for the white witch doing it, they wouldn't be able to do anything. But they have to have the devil's permission in order to perform the white magic. Okay, because that is, even though it's a white magic, and it's done in a good manner, coming from a good place, or at least the people that deal with it think so. Um, the darkness still controls behind the scenes, without that person knowing, and that's a way that the darkness can manipulate the light, and make the light seem like they're doing something noble, when in actuality they probably intend to do something noble, um, but the darkness aspect of it will twist and distort that magic into their will. Okay, and I've seen it happen firsthand. I literally have seen it happen. I was doing a haunted location, in West Virginia, as a matter of fact, a very, very troubled area, to say the least. It was a haunted amusement park, and there was a uh, Shawnee lands where the Shawnees used to come in and hunt game and all that, and there were some settlers that were killed, and captured by the Shawnee, in this area. And this one person from this ghost hunting group started talking about how great they were at the white magic and all this, and how they were gonna cure this place of its evilness and all that and darkness, and cleanse it, while they were there. And I remember I'm just sitting there at a picnic table, on a picnic table, watching this person. And I just sat there and I smiled, because I knew what was going to happen. You know, it's kind of like claiming to be an exorcist and not taking holy water and a cross with you. You know what I mean? It's that kind of way of dealing with it. This person was literally lifted off the ground and thrown 30 feet for trying to do what they did. And that was just a mild warning. Okay. So I took the time out to inform this individual that they need to not do that again, because their life could depend upon it.
I'm trying to get caught up to your comments, guys. I'm sorry. I'm a little behind here. Um,
Keep seeing the number 9 nonstop every time I go to like a video. It's an 8, and I would be the 9th. This happens quite a bit. Well, and that's the other thing too. Let me see if I can remember. In the beginning I said there's 333 locations around the world where the devil has free access to come into our world. 3 plus
Mm-hmm.
3 plus 3 equals 9. That's a demonic number. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, anything, and Nikola Tesla knew it. Okay. And this is something I need to talk about with Nikola Tesla. He used to walk around a building 3 times before going into the building. Everything he did in threes: 3, 6, 9. Okay. When you're dealing with threes, sixes, and nines, you're dealing with the devil's numbers. Okay. You're dealing with the spoofing of the Trinity. Okay. It's like somebody saying they got scratched, and one person being scratched is 4 scratch marks in a line, and the other person has 3. Okay. The one with 4 scratches was scratched by a once alive individual, and their spirit is just malevolent. Where 3 scratches is demonic. Okay. Anything with 3, 6, or 9, you're dealing with the mocking of the Trinity. Okay, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Okay. um and when you mock the Trinity, it has to be you have to know that you have some type of ass to back it up with when you mock the Trinity. Nobody can blaspheme the Creator and expect to go into his world. So
We do have a question here, brother. What's with the angel numbers? Been hearing that term a bit of late.
well, that is a more of an adaptation from the Catholicism faith. That is where they somehow or another they figure that when angels communicate with humanity, that they're going to do it in a numerical manner. Whether it's 1111, which means that you are should be open to new ideas and all that coming towards you, whether it's 222 or 777. Um, they all have their own different spiritual meanings. But in my dealings with the angelic, the bad angelic and the good angelic, um, I've always known them to speak to me, and not in numbers. You know, I guess the number thing too is it's kind of like a common language. Okay, mathematics is a language. It's not a way to just divide and subtract and add things. Okay, mathematics is a way of communication, kind of like Morse code. Okay, the dot 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 stuff. Okay, um, it's kind of along that same lines. But mathematics is a big part of the universe, and in a lot of the math, God's number would be 10. Okay, which is perfect, which is you can't get any better than 10. Okay. In fact, the mathematics that we deal with as humans is wrong. Because if you take an equation, take 2 times 2 is 4. Okay. Okay. Well, what's 1 times 1? 1 times 1 is 1. Well, that's not mathematically possible. You can't multiply a number and get with another number and get the same number. Okay, that's not mathematically, that's inconceivable. You can't do that. That's not how math works. Um, Now 1 times 2 is 2, yes, because 2 ones are 2. Okay. So, but 1 times 1 is, it shouldn't even be in the mathematical system, because 1 times 1 equals 1 is wrong. So, but it is what it is. Okay. And, the ones that made up a lot of math are the ones that control a lot of the stuff that we deal with. So,
Mhm. Yeah, a question here. Candy Wolf asked, "Is it true about colors, numbers, etc., presenting good and evil?" Uh,
yeah,
Actually, yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly it. You know, everybody loved Johnny Cash. You know, everybody thought Johnny Cash was this great person. This, you know, boy named Sue. Um, but what was he known to wear? He was the man in
Hmm.
black. You know, um, when you wear green, I mean, if you're Irish, you're gonna love green anyways. But you know, but I mean, yes, certain colors attract certain negative and positive supernatural entities or beings into your life. I guess most of my life I've always dressed in the dark colors, the blacks. Most everybody that's met me in public knows that I usually wear a lot of black, whether it's black jeans or a black T-shirt or whatnot. Um, but you know, white, as far as Native Americans are concerned, white anything is a sacred color. It's a purity. On a level that the creator recognizes. Whether it's a white buffalo, a white rabbit, or you know anything, a white cow, a white dog, anything white, pure white deer, you know, they call it albinism, and it's not. It's actually just a way that Native Americans perceive things. White means purity. It means unscathed, the purest of the pure. Okay. Um, Perfect example is the legend of the um, white buffalo calf woman bringing the sacred pipe to the Lakota people.
Love that story.
She changed into a white buffalo, and you know the legend is that when the white buffalo is born again, the rivers will run, and the grass will grow again for the people. Um, Unfortunately, we've had like 4 or 5 different white buffalo calves born in the last 40 years, so it's kind
Yeah.
of hard to to pinpoint when the rivers are going to flow again and the grass is going to grow for the people again.
And the
Um,
buffalo's going to return.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's kind of a you got to be able to interpret it in order to understand it. But yeah, the color white is the purest of pure. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. And that kind of goes, Candy asked again, birthdays, names, spellings of names. What's up with numerology, which we've kind of hit that already. Numbers, colors, all that stuff is very important when it comes to supernatural and paranormal stuff, and religion and beliefs. It's all, when you speak, you're saying a spell. So be careful how you speak. Certain
mhm.
numbers have certain entities attached to it, good or bad. This is stuff that we have to be careful and we have to consider when we're dealing with this stuff.
Do
What's
you
your
know?
intake, brother?
Do you know that? Oh, let me put it to you in this term, Candy, and everybody in the chat. Let me put it this way: everything you do in this world, as long as you're a part of this world, you're doing to basically glorify the devil, um, Lucifer, and that includes even the birthday song. You know, the happy birthday song. That is an incantation. That was devised by the dark magic and Satan himself, Lucifer himself, to limit mankind's ability to live longer. Okay. Um, Back in the old days, they never used to sing it, you know. But for some reason now, when people sing happy birthday to you, you know, that is given by Lucifer as a way to devise into our psyche that we are not immortal, that our life expectancy will end. Okay, that's a way of automatically generating that negativity for man to die sooner than to live longer. Okay, it's an incantation. Okay, so
I'm trying to get caught up on the comments here. Oh yeah, I mean, and you got to think about it. Look at all your elementals. Look at all your spirits. They all have a type of color, either um, blue, red, brown, or green, and white to them. So I mean, all that plays into that effect, and that's why it's all very important. Wu was talking about how he's been having well issues. I'll get back up here. Let me get back up. I'm trying to get caught up on all this stuff here. I'm behind. Um, Wu was telling a story. He goes, "We have been having well issues. Last night, the pressure went out again, so my wife went to turn off the switches at the well in the breaker box at the well house. At 4 a.m., inside the box was a snake. Um, he says she came inside screaming. I think it was a king snake, non venomous, either that or a coral snake. Um, try and get caught up on where he left off. Um, no, she just jumped back. Oh, she was answering. No, she just jumped back off the switch. Yeah, king snakes are very important to have on your property, folks. They eat venomous snakes. There's no such thing as a poisonous snake. They're venomous. King snakes, black snakes, you want them on your property because they eat venomous snakes.
all right.
You answered that one on the white buffalo. Yeah, it's been born several times. Um, Candy says, I love purple and turquoise and black. Yeah, my favorite colors are black and red. Roxanne, the Bible states a couple of colors. If I remember, a wife is covered in purple. I am not for sure. Been a long time since I read that part.
Well, look at it this way too. In the Bible, the priest and even when Jesus was turned over to the Romans to be crucified, the Romans dressed him in a purple robe. Okay, which purple was a significant color to the uh, Jewish community, and it showed that that person was a high level person with the Hebrew faith. You know, so yeah, by putting the purple robe on Jesus, um, they were mocking him for saying he was the son of God. Okay, because purple is a very sacred color. So it's basically given to people with prominent positions within the church or society as a whole. Usually like a wise person, a wise man, or a wise woman.
Yeah, and purple is also a color of royalty. Purple was a very hard pigment to get. So you was really rich, mainly royalty when you got purple. It was one of them hard colors. So
And
yeah, it's important.
let's not forget that purple also represents in Sundance ceremonies and sweat lodge, it
Mhm.
represents the creator. So
Candy wants to know, where can I find a list of what represents good and evil?
I don't think there is a complete list, and if there is, it's probably locked up in the Vatican archives.
Hmm. Yeah. Uh, I'm finally caught up. Sorry, guys. It took me a little while to get to all your guys' comments. I apologize. The chat's running fast today, and I'm loving it. Or is it based? Just
Well, I
not know
just,
how to see it. Yeah. Um,
well,
yeah.
if you all can do me a favor and hit that like button and share this out with as many people as you can, because this is a conversation that a lot of people need to hear. Because
mhm.
we're doing a lot of things in this life that are we mean good intentions from it, um, to help out humanity. So we mean it coming from a good place, but the way it's made to be presented to us in this world, it's made to benefit Lucifer. Okay. Um, just like I said before, the happy birthday songs, the happy anniversary, wishes, that's a limitation too. That's actually an incantation also. By wishing somebody a happy anniversary, you're wishing them to not have another anniversary. You see what I mean?
Mm.
It's it's a lot like manifestation. Okay. One of my elders told me when I was studying, to be a holy man, to be the medicine man. Um, they told me that if you want to manifest a prayer to come true, it's the words are important, okay, and what you visualize up here is important. And when you visualize it, like say you want it to rain, okay, and because it hasn't rained in a month, and your crops are dying and you want it to rain, you'll go outside, you'll take your shoes and your socks off, you'll curl your toes up in the dirt, and you'll imagine your curled toes going into mud, okay, into soft, wet, cold mud. You'll feel the rain hitting your face and your arms and your hands. You'll taste the sweetness of the rain on your lips. This is what helps you manifest. Okay, this is the intensity level of manifestation you need to have in order to manifest anything in your life. Okay, so when I pray, and I also visualize, I taste it, I smell it, I see it. You know, you need that enhanced ability to manifest. Okay, and you will manifest it. You know, if it's God's will, I mean, you'll manifest it. Okay.
I'm getting ready to pop something up here. Let me get caught up on the
Okay.
comments while I'm doing this. And this is going to be the image of the medicine wheel, and this kind of gives you a lot of what you guys are asking about colors, and why this is very sacred, very important. I got it on my external, so I'm just saving it again real quick so I can put it up here for you guys. So I'm trying to get into here, and I'll get caught up on your comments again here in just a second. Let me get this done. If I can find where it went, there you are. All right. So this is going to give you kind of rough idea when we're talking about colors and importance of colors. This is the Native American prospect or side of it. So I mean, just give you guys a heads up, but it teaches you what each color means, and everything like that. And this is it here. North is the well. You always start out with the east. It's very important. You start out with the east. East is the direction of birth. Um, it's
The
sun,
birth of the sun.
dawn, huh?
The birth of the
Oh, go
sun.
ahead. Yep.
Yeah, it's the birth of the
Yeah.
sun from the east. Whenever we set our lodges up in the old days, we always faced our doorway to the east. Whenever we set
Hmm.
sweat lodges up to do our ceremonies in, we always face the door to the east. So yeah, it's the place where the sun comes, which ironically the
Yep.
Son of Man, the Son of God. So
Yep.
go ahead.
And that's like, even like with me. I mean, the door to my home faces the east. That's the direction of birth. When you come out, you're being born. When you're going in, you're going back into the womb. Anytime I put up my tents, anytime I put up my pop up camper, whatever it is, I always face the lodge or the opening of my lodge to the east to represent that. And that's represented by the color yellow. And then you have south, which is red, which is childhood, and stuff like that. So, I mean, you got to focus. A lot of this stuff is I'm trying to do this and get caught up on the comments. I apologize. So I mean, all these colors are powerful. West is black. That's adulthood. Um, North is old age and death. It's white. It's purity. It's returning. All these colors, they all have a purpose and a meaning behind them, and that's something we need to consider when we're doing this type of stuff. Is what all this means. And I mean, this is just a prime example. Like I said, this is the Native American side of it, but it's kind of that way in a lot of religions too, if you actually study it.
All right.
Hey, have a
Well,
good one,
I've
Juno.
got yeah, Juno. We'll see you later, brother. I'm sorry, guys, but I gotta close this out here. But if you can, I'm going to be putting a lot of this stuff on the members only aspect of the YouTube channel. Um, so if you all want to support the channel, that'd be great. That's $4.99 a month, and you get exclusive videos and stuff and content from me. I'm going to start working on that this week. Um, Plus, you get other things. I also want to give a shout out to the people that won yesterday, and we're going to be doing another giveaway next weekend. But Cynthia and Ray, you know, I want to let them know that they're appreciated. I talked to them and all that the other day, last evening, on Messenger, and they gave me their addresses. I'm going to mail this stuff out to everybody that won yesterday, by like the 6th of the month. Okay. So, because I don't get my disability until the 3rd of the month. So, unfortunately, I'll get it out then. Okay. Thank you all for being here in the chat, man. It meant a lot to me. Like I said, if you can please share this out and let people know that there's some things in this life that we're not meant to say and speak and do. Um, we have to it's kind of like minding our p's and q's, you know what I mean? It's like they said when we were kids, mind your p's and q's. um it's that same thing. Eh, when we do certain things, we're actually doing it for evil and not good, and we need to realize that even though our intentions are in a noble and honorable manner, um that it still benefits the negative aspect of this life, and we need to build it up. We need to pray a lot differently than what we're doing. um, and when you pray, you visualize it, you taste it, you feel it, you know you got to make sure that you incorporate all of your senses into that prayer, because it's not just the words that cause the manifestation and the prayer to come true. It's your thought process, your visualizing, your feeling of it. You know what I mean? Get immersed in it. Okay. But
Uh,
Candy and Edna, Woo Rider, Dave, you guys, thank you very much. And we'll see you all later. Like I said, I'm going to be doing a bunch of videos this week, so I probably won't be doing any lives during the week, but we'll be back on Friday night and Saturday and Sunday morning next week, okay? And I'll get those announcements out, as soon as I get a chance to type them out to everybody. So thank you all for being here. Eric, why don't you give a little bit of information about your show tonight and all that?
Yeah. Real quick, Castor was wanting to know if you sell medicine bags. His son is a wounded warrior from Baghdad. He's an ag teacher.
Yeah, yeah, I do. I do medicine bags. Yep.
Give him Castor. Email him at Lakota Man. Oh my God, I forgot Lakota Man.
333.
What's your email? 333. Email him and give me your information. And also, don't forget, go to his Bonfire merch store and buy his merchandise to help him out. This is great merchandise. He has a lot of good stuff. So, hey, Edna, thank you so much. We got a super chat.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, dear.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much, honey.
So, so for me, you're welcome, Castor. For me, I didn't have a show yesterday because I was trying to go out and do an investigation, but unfortunately the weather did not work out, so I ended up getting some chores done around here that I need to get done. Tonight I'm doing a show on the Maltese Giant. My shows on my regular shows on Sunday are at 6:00 Central Standard Time on YouTube. Go to YouTube to the Bizarre and the Unknown. It's going to be fun. I've been doing a lot of research. I've been having an issue with my research because of these storms I've had yesterday and today. And it's look like it's getting ready to storm again. I was like, man, I need to mow, but it's getting ready to hit us. So that'll be tonight's show. It's episode 28, the Maltese Giant. Go to YouTube at the Bizarre and the Unknown, and you can find me there. I also have merch on Teespring. Go to Teespring and look up the Bizarre and the Unknown. I have several different kinds of merch. I'm trying to add some more, but right now it's not letting me. For some reason, it's acting up. I don't know. I think it's because of the weather.
Yeah, and it's also because of the Ginger Giant things.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, we've got the Ginger Lives Matter line, which has got Ginger Giants in it and a bunch of ginger stuff. It was a fun thing to do. I've got the funnies lines where I turn cryptid stuff, kind of funny jokes with cryptids. I've got the Freedom is Not Free line, which is my military line. I've got my Alienware line. I've got a bunch of different kind of merch on there. I'm also on Patreon, The Bizarre and the Unknown, Rumble, The Bizarre and the Unknown, X, and a lot of stuff is on. You look it up, and it's The Bizarre and the Unknown. I do a current events, which I just did the other day, which is strictly on Rumble and X. For some reason, the video didn't go on to X, so it's just on Rumble for my last one from Friday. I can speak more freely on them platforms. So when I do current events, that's why I do it on Rumble and X. Gingers are great. Yeah. Woo Rider Williams email again. I'll type it in here.
Yeah, I can do
it. Okay. Thank you. But it's going to be fun. I've got a new program that I'm streaming on, so I'm learning it. So I'm adding stuff on there so my mods can help me get some more information out easier instead of me forgetting to change my banners. But you can find my books also. I'm an author. I've got 5 books that's published right now. I've got to get back. I've been so busy not being able to get my writing done. I'm trying to get that done, but I've just got a lot of stuff going on right now. But you can find them on Amazon. You go to Amazon, type in e.d.testerman, and you'll find my books. You click my name above one of my books, it takes you to my author's fan page. Anytime I do a new release, it'll let you know. Currently, 3 out of my 5 books are available on audio. I've got 2 in production right now to finish that up. I'm currently working on, I've got a laundry list of books I'm working on, but the Two Brothers War and Turmoil, which is my Viking historical fiction. I write everything I write. You'll be able to find. I actually write events, time frames, even my sci-fi series. The planets, I gave you the NASA's name for the planets. You can actually go on NASA's website and type in that name and find the planet that I'm talking about in there. So I have a lot of fun with it. So I hope to see you guys tonight on my YouTube channel,
Yep.
Bizarre and
Sounds
Unknown.
good. Sounds good.
So
I know I'll be watching and I'll be in the chat. So,
heck yeah. And you're
all
always
right,
welcome to
guys.
come on live anytime you want to come on live, brother. You're always welcome on my show.
I just, I want to get this information out today because
Mhm.
I haven't been doing too good physically. So, and the more information I can get out, at least if I'm not here, the videos will carry on, after I'm gone. So this stuff needs to be talked about. It needs to be brought out, because the way our world is set up, it's set up to glorify the evil, the darkness and Lucifer. Um, so we gotta be cautious on how we do things, because you don't want to give and glorify Lucifer. You want to glorify the creator God, okay, Yahweh. So, anyways, thank you all very much. We love you all very much, and thank you, Aunt Edna, again for that gracious gift. That helps out a lot. Um, look for us next week again, Friday night into the Red Rabbit Hole at 11 p.m. Eastern, and then Saturday and Sunday next weekend at 11 a.m. Eastern. We're going to be back on for the Paranormal Weekend Morning Brew Show, which I got to change the name of that. I got to shorten it up. That's just too much of a mouthful on a Saturday morning and a Sunday morning. So, but anyways, we love you all very much. Thank you all for being here, and question everything, please. That's one of the reasons I say it so much. Question everything. Okay.
Heck yeah.
Thank you all.